welcome to the Patreon, baby. Have no fear, Tykwondoe is here. We in the VIP section, yeah, dig. Listen, a long-awaited video. I'm gonna make this accessible to all tiers. I damn near wanted to post this video on YouTube, so I'm gonna give y'all the green light that if a plug channel sees this, post it on YouTube. The power of word choice. This is going to be one of my most impactful videos, one of my most life-changing videos, because I've never exactly highlighted the power of word choice or what you say. And I feel as though it is one of the most downplayed and talked down upon arts of all time. The art of not just a mouthpiece. This isn't just about, oh, a mouthpiece. This guy's smooth with his words and things like that. But I'll give you an example. The whole popular saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. People don't remember what you said. They remember how it made them feel. Now, all of these things have truth to them, right? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Delivery is important. Tonality. The delivery of how somebody emotionally puts it down, or they're yelling, or they're screaming. It's like, you're yelling at me, and people can't listen because they feel pressured and things like that. We all know this, right? But why are we downplaying the power of word choice? So there are going to be essentially 4 parts of this video. Number 1, why I believe word choice is so powerful. Then I'm going to go into 3 influences or impacts of word choice. And then finally, I'm going to talk about how you're going to get better at word choice, how you develop your word choice, your mouthpiece, or whatever the case may be, because it's a life thing. It's not really like, oh, this one situation, the power of word choice matters or it doesn't. You are actually at an extreme disadvantage if you are dealing with somebody who's very clear, concise, direct, powerful, and impactful with their words. And I'll give you many different examples of this throughout this video. First and foremost, the fact that, think about this, in a court system, in a courtroom, in a law system, right? In a judicial system. I don't know why the word just fucked me up like that, but a judicial system, right? Why do we have the belief of choosing one lawyer over another if they are both qualified, right? 2 qualified lawyers. Why do we know that one lawyer is going to send us to jail for life? They're gonna throw away the key if this is my lawyer with the slacks and the baggy pants and all that bullshit. Or this other lawyer can get me away with a slap on the wrist, almost as if I didn't even do what is accused. Let's say you are actually innocent or whatever. Some people are literally guilty and have such powerful lawyers that they walk away based on what you think he went in there and chose how he said it? Hey, Your Honor, my client is really innocent. You should let him go. And then the judge goes, damn, I love the way he said. No. Because words are influential. How you organize your speech changes the audience's remembering of that speech. Or your message. How you get your point across. All politicians understand this. Businessmen, sales guys, retail workers, customer service. I actually find that just because somebody works in those positions, they don't even abuse the power of word choice as well as they could. I was talking to somebody who was on customer service and said, hey, you ever worked in retail and a customer comes in with such a bad mood or attitude and it just throws you off. You just let them get it out and, you don't even know what to say, right? And not realizing the power and the potential they have in that moment with the power of word choice. If you're already here, I doubt I have to convince you how powerful word choice is. You're ready to get into how to apply it and how to get better at it. So I'm not going to go down the line with a million examples. Let's just get into these 3 points I want to make. Number 1, the power of word choice allows you to represent yourself next to your goal. Number 2, it allows you to reflect how you view that person, which is very important in seduction and influence and really connecting with people. That second one, it reflects how you view that person or anybody or group of people at that. And then number 3, it reflects and projects how you view yourself. These three alone, directly and indirectly, communicate, influence, and alter so much in our lives that you're not even aware of it. You're not even aware of it. So let's start with number one. Number one, and this is more so on like a salesman level, an influential level, and that's representing yourself next to your goal. An example I have of this is a salesman creating trust that they can deliver. So there's two people trying to make a sale, right? And one salesman is like giving the client or the potential customer the idea that they're trying to make a sale. Then it's not even a 50-50 gamble whether the sale is going to go through. It's probably 20-80. 20% it might work, 80% it might not. That person might have to convince themselves they want to buy whatever the purchase is. But other than that, that other salesman, that original salesman I'm talking about, is not going to make the sale most of the time. They're not going to hit the heart of the potential client or the person that they're trying to influence and connect with through the power of their word choice. However, the salesman who not only can create that trust that they will deliver, right, but also uses their or communicates their expertise to influence the person's trust, it comes down to one thing. Do they project that they know exactly what they need? Am I listening to this salesperson or this salesman and going, they got me, or they know what they're talking about, or you know what, I can rely on them, I can trust them, or you know what, they're making it a good point. But in order for a person to be influenced like that, there requires a level of vulnerability for them to go into their own thoughts and say, let me change my own mind. Because that's essentially what they're doing when they're listening to you. They have to change their own minds. They have to go against what they already think, what they already feel that they know. And these are powerful things that are only accomplished by word choice. A small example of this I used to give is when I was working at King of Prussia Mall, and I was working at Primark. And a small little tag. We used to sell these reusable bags. And the reusable bags went anywhere from like $2 to $5, I think. $2, $3, and $5 was like the most expensive one. And most of the people at the cash register, because I worked at the cash register, I didn't work at men's, women's, or kids' clothing. I worked at the cash register the whole time. So I talked to people nonstop all day. And these tags, when you would sell them, you would rip off this like cardboard tag on it, and you would sell it. You would take the tag off the bag to show that you sell it, to show that you sold a reusable bag. Now, mind you, I wasn't even getting a bonus for this. It's not even like it was going into my check or anything. I just found it an interesting game, and I'm glad I did, because this really worked on my mouthpiece and my word choice and all types of things just by experiencing this. Remember, experience is the best teacher. By having to sell these bags to people who sometimes didn't speak English, who wanted nothing to do with the bag, could probably barely afford it, or had no intention or goal to buy this bag when they came into that store. But remember, the number one thing of the mouthpiece, or the first thing I mentioned, was representing yourself next to your goal. If my goal was to sell this bag, right, the way I represented myself next to this goal was that I was offering them a helpful and life-changing service. It wasn't life-changing, but I was offering them a service, right? Now, combine the other salesmen around me, the other cashiers that couldn't sell this bag, because they would just say, would you like to buy a reusable bag today for $2 or $3? And they would just think that's it. But I knew the power of my mouthpiece. I knew the power of my word choice. I wouldn't even mention the bag until the end of the purchase. The whole purchase I would spend getting to know the customer. I would look at their items and I would say, oh, is it your father's birthday? Or you shopping for your girlfriend or shopping for your boyfriend? I would make a wrong assumption, because people love to correct you. So I knew just by choosing to say something wrong, maybe I was right. Oh yeah, it's my father's. It's actually not my father's birthday. This is 32nd anniversary with my. Who the fuck knows? But people love to correct wrong information. So whether I was wrong, they would just correct me, and if I was right, then they would say, yes, it is. It's my father's birthday. I'm trying to get something nice. And before even digging deeper into that and getting personal and invading their space, I would say, okay, no, this is a great gift. Did you find everything you wanted to find in the store today? I'm providing even more help. I'm not just trying to dig into their life. Right? I reassured them first with my words. I reassured them, this is a really nice gift. And then I go into another direction and say, did Did you find everything else you liked, or was there something you was looking for when you came in here? Right? I'm getting very specific and into the detail of it. Fuck how I'm saying it. Look at what I'm saying and the direction I'm going that's representing me next to the goal. I'm creating the dynamic that I am a provider. I am, I'm a cash. Are you looking for anything? How can I help you? I'm not even trying to sell anything yet. If anything, I'm selling help and service and trying to honor them that way. And I'm creating this through what I'm choosing to say. I hope y'all are noticing this through this example. So then I go, by the end of the purchase, we had a random conversation about their life, their family, or whoever else, or whatever else. Or maybe, through their items, they're not buying something for anybody else. They're buying it for themselves. So I'm saying, how you doing? I might just start with, how you doing? And then let them answer. And then I say, did you find everything you liked today? Because I know the store could be big sometimes. I know it probably was this stuff over here. So did you find everything? And I'm genuinely putting this look on my face, like, did you find everything? And looking them in the eyes, making it intimate with the eye contact so they can trust me. Not intimate as in like sexual intimate, but intimate as in like direct and serious, right? So then beyond that, right, then I've represented myself next to this goal as this person who is, that they can trust, that this person that has expertise. You represent that through your mouthpiece. It can be shown. You have to directly say certain things, right? A lot of times, I'm not directly saying, hey, I know it all because I work at this store, right? Oftentimes when we directly say something like that, it's like people don't really trust us. We might can provide them with an example that proves that we know. I said, I know how I can look over there. You know what I'm saying? Did you find everything you would like? Because sometimes people be saying, I don't know. So I just wanted to make sure you were straight. I'm kind of brushing it off as something light, but still showing I care, right? So beyond that, now when I go at the end of the purchase to say, hey, let me tell you something. Or, before I forget, one thing I wanted to tell you was, we got these reusable bags. Now, see, you have these brown bags, and I would show them both bags. Like, I would show them. I'm demonstrating all of this. Again, fuck how I'm saying it and all this bullshit. I'm showing them the bags. I'm saying, hey, you got these, what were they made of? Paper? Cardboard? I don't fucking know what them bags was made of. Some bullshit. What are brown bags made of? Like them fucking paper brown bags. Just paper. Listen, my point was, I would say, listen, these bags, and I would get low. These bags are rip before you make it out the door. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they had a lot of items, I'll say, listen, this bag gonna rip before you make it out the door. Like, I'm getting real low. Like, now this is where how I'm saying it is helping what I'm saying. I'm lowering the minimum. Listen, these bags you ain't gonna make it out the door with these bags. And if they didn't have a lot of items, I'd say, listen, I want to help you with something. We got these reusable bags. They're huge. Listen, you could take them grocery shopping. You could put anything in. You could throw it in your trunk. Next time you come in here, you ain't never got to worry about your bag ripping. You can carry other stuff. You can go to the mall and put all your different bags in here. It make it real easy for your life. Or I would sell it that way if they didn't have a lot of items. And say, listen, you'll be helping me out too. We get to claim these tags. That'd be my last resort. Letting them know, like, listen, you'll be helping me out. We all come in here with these bags. Just coming clean in a sense. That's my last resort because I'm not trying to make it about them helping me. I'm never trying to play that card. But that's the case of, like, I can tell they're maybe not moving off the bag or like not really shaking. And I think I can get a personal favor, like you're doing me a favor. Mind you, this is the same job I told y'all that I had the most reviews in the store. And mind you, a review is something they have to go out their way to do. They have to go to the receipt, type the link in, or scan the barcode, type the message in. People hate doing reviews. But I always got people to do it. I say, listen, you can give me Employee of the Month this month. If you show me a little love on a review, on a name tag, listen, it's right here, Todd, T.Y., don't forget the name. I would say that all the time because I knew the impact of going on my way to represent myself next to my goal and that I cared. This is all word choice. Now, you might have thought word choice was going to be me saying, never say this or never say that and always use words like this. Now, there are statements like that, like words like, of course. Words that reaffirm are your powerful words. Oh, I know it must suck, because a lot of times I give this example I found on the internet where this woman was talking about how, men could be from Mars and women could be from Jupiter. That's the whole saying goes. But the reason for that being is, as men, when we hear somebody complaining or a woman tell us about her day, we try to get straight to the solution, right? Or why don't you do this? Or how about this, that, right? We want to solve the problem. But in reality, This is going to go to my last part, how you get your mouthpiece better. So I don't want to lead into it too much. But in reality, it's the reassurance and the reaffirming that they need, that they're asking for without even asking. Not the table gossip, pillow talking shit, because I don't do that shit. You know, I'm like, oh, girl, she had you fucked up. Like, I'm not doing that. You know, the things like, oh, they must be true. Just like we talked to our homies. It would say, he's like, yeah, bro, you know, I was at work today, and this customer came in and said, shut the fuck up. And we're not going to say, yo, you trying to go jump him and punch him in their face? We're not going to jump to the solution. We're going to say something like, bro, he tripping. You know, I'm from Philly. This is how we talk. Like, man, that nigga tripping, bro. He shot out. He scared it. Like, yo, who he talking to? Who he thought he was talking? You know, we say stuff like that. And it's not even a solution. It's just the fact that we are jumping into the person's shoes. We're speaking into the experience. And that's a powerful part of word choice. Choosing to speak into the experience rather than using words like I or me, because then you're centering it around self rather than connecting to that person and going into their experience. So then there's terms like that matter. I, me, or we, us. You know, they and them are separating terms. The isolating terms, the alienating terms. Me and I are, again, alienating terms, separating terms. We, us, we have to look out for each other. You know, things like that. I can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. Me personally, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're separating terms. And when it comes to the power of word choice and mouthpiece and influence, I don't know why I just made that random noise, but these are terms you don't use. These are terms you don't use. Politicians understand this. They go in and say, man, as the working class, you know, grew up, they say my family, but then they're really using the story to say, like, I can relate to poor people. They say, you know, we used to get it and be so tight, it'd be like 10 toes in one boot. And, you know, my mom, she struggled, and they're using this experience and all the words that they're choosing and to orchestrate the relationship and connection and the impact that they have. And I think that people with no understanding of word choice just have no sense of the picture they're painting or the narrative they're creating with their sentences. Let's go to number 2. I know that first one was loaded. We're 17 minutes in or 18 minutes in, and I'm about to get to the second part, the second term. Number 2, your word choice reflects how you view that person or how you review a person. This is part of the reason you don't just say to woman, I want to fuck. Or you're not supposed to, right? And why results may vary, right? Why you don't usually just say that. You don't usually just say that, and the results may vary because not the word for word itself, but to her, she or the other person is directly offended because, oh, you think I'm a hoe? You know, your word choice just reflected how you view that person, whether you're aware of it or not. And that's what can trigger and influence people, is that your word choice reflects how you view a person. And when your words reflect how you view them, and it doesn't align with maybe how they view themselves, this is a moment of strong impact. If it doesn't reflect how they view themselves, and it's uplifting, they'll love you. Because they may have a low self-esteem or a poor sense of self, and here you are encouraging them and uplifting them. They'll love you. When they have a great sense of self, or if they view themselves highly or things of that nature, and you don't align with that, and you're going on a poor route, again, it matters it matters what you say. I was gonna say how you say it, but when I was saying how you say it, it matters the words you choose. Because I could give somebody constructive criticism and sound like I'm doing them a favor. I love doing things like that. I remember I told a woman one time, I was like, I ain't gonna lie, I could tell you been spoiled. You acting like you moving like a brat. And I purposely pushed her button to show that I view you as a person I could be honest with. I view you as a person who I can tell about themselves. And that's just how I am. I'm almost skipping to how you view yourself, but I do certain things on purpose, intentionally. And it was times where, like, this wasn't our first interaction. You know, I didn't come off rip saying, yo, you act like a brat or some shit like that. But again, this was a very beautiful woman that men might fall over all the time. And one of the things I was saying to her in one of our first conversations, it wasn't the first thing I said to her again, but one of our first actually getting to know each other's was like, and you act like a brat, like straight up. And I knew it wasn't flirting. I knew it wasn't complimentary or none of that. But it made her think. Because she didn't maybe view herself as a brat, but she couldn't tell me I was wrong. And it told her so much on how I view her. I didn't view her on like a pedestal of being a perfect goddess. I viewed her as a human. Like, yo, and I could tell you what I recognize and what I see. And I mean what I say. And my audacity to say that is what made an impact on her. She ended up confessing that later on that was one of the things that when she was first getting to know me or talking to me, that she loved that I did. I never forgot you said that to me because blah 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 blah. And it triggered a whole thought pattern that had nothing to do with the moment. Because I read her by choosing to show how I view her and using that intentionally. I'll give you another example of how words like little. You have a business coming on, and when one of your family members go, "Oh, how's that little business of yours?" What's the most important word in that sentence? That changes everything about it. One word, little. We can tell when some people ask rhetorical questions. How didn't you see it? We know they're not asking us literally how didn't they see it. We know they're trying to be smart. They're trying to indirectly say that they view us as stupid for not seeing it. So a lot of times our word choice reflect how we view a person, and when we're not aware of this, we say things and then we have to follow up with, "Oh, I didn't mean it like that." Shit, you meant it some way. Trust and believe. It reflected how you viewed that person, and they caught that. They didn't even catch your words directly. They caught how you must view them based on what you said, and that's another power of the word choice that I feel is very overlooked. And it just happens every day, all the time. Oh, because people say that all the time. I just gave an example. People go, we'll say something to someone. Why don't you take your time? You don't think I can handle it? You don't think I'm good enough? Blah, blah. Like they jump out with all these things that got triggered in them. And it had nothing to do with your exact words. But the power of your word choice reflected how you viewed that person. Right? I'm going to the third one. Number 3, they reflect how you view yourself. And I'm not ranking these things in 3, the first thing I said is the most important. The second one is the most powerful. This one is more when we go into like charm or what can make you attractive about yourself. And this is where I talk about like women love passion, or people love passion in general. Like when we could tell somebody's passionate about a subject, it could be fucking cleaning toilets. Most likely not cleaning toilets. But like when they care about something genuinely. Or even words that we use when we're talking to others, when we're referencing others. Show how we view ourselves. If I'm talking about the boogeyman in the closet, and I'm saying and using keywords such as, I'm worried. You can't worry and be confident at the same time. Certain keywords. I don't know why the examples aren't coming to my mind. I do apologize. But an example I wrote in my notes, right, is I remember it was this anime, One Piece, right, which I have not watched, but I see random clips of it, like spoilers on fucking TikTok. And it was this clip where a pirate had kidnapped another pirate, because the show is about pirates or some shit. And they kidnapped this girl. And it was this pirate named Shanks. And he was like, the guy who kidnapped her was like, or I got her, or I'm trying to kidnap her or some shit. And Shanks said, and I'll never forget this statement. He said, "Be ready to die."
Hand over Uta so we can all leave peacefully.
Answer is it?
I was hoping you would play nice. Oh well, what a pity.
Uta. She is my daughter. And our family. You better be ready to die!
Yo. I think I got chills hearing that statement. I don't even watch the show. Don't even care about the show. But that reflected right then and there how he viewed him. This is the first example I thought when I came to mind of like What example can I use when I say your word choice reflects how you view yourself? Because he could have said something like, leave her alone, you know, we won't let you take her. But be ready to die? Him telling the other guy that? Those choice and words already showed. He reflected that he's the guy, I'm standing on business. I die for those around me and care about me. I'm riding for my team. I don't give a fuck. A huge, now, y'all can, I know my edges, but that third one is very simple. Like, again, your words project a lot about your confidence, and your words project a lot about you. Now, I just wanted to point out those three things because those are examples of how I see word choice being so effective and influential in our everyday life when you're really good at it or if you're really bad at it. Now, let's go to the last part of this video, which y'all all probably been waiting for, is how to get better at word choice. What do you do to get better? Now, first of all, I'm going to start simple and then I'm going to go into more intricate examples. Simply put, your word choice will be a lot better in your conversations and communication and in your life if the first word you always say during your sentence is a breath. If the first word you say anytime you talk is, or maybe you breathe through your nose or your mouth or both at the same time, right? Because I breathe through my mouth to exaggerate the sound of breathing. But really, it's just, if your first word is your breath, it's something about collecting your breath at the beginning of your sentence that allows you to gather your thoughts, gather your confidence, gather yourself and your body, and be firm about what comes out of your mouth next. Simplest thing ever, but it's the most powerful thing ever. Let your first sentence or your first word be a breath. Just a breathe in. Because a lot of times when we say the worst shit or when we're very nervous, we speed up. We talk too fast. A lot of times you tell somebody is out of breath when they're talking and then they're like, they're rambling on and their speech is all fucked up and we can hear the breathiness in their talking, right? It doesn't come from a very deep, centered, controlled way of speaking, right? And again, like I said, you think more controlled, you think better when you're calm. You choose your words better. You're not going to get anywhere in your word choice being nervous, rushing, or overreacting. And that is handled by just breathing in a lot of cases. Not feeling obligated to say something instantly, but just breathing, letting space for that silence. The other person might even say something. Or you might even come up with a better choice in words. Who knows? First word be your breath. My next thing would be, and I got this from a book. I'm actually go grab it. Now, I used to think it was a flex, right? That I was so good and knew so much about communication, other than my college classes, that a lot of my shit came from experience, observations, and personal research. Now, this counts as personal research and things like that. But I thought it was a flex. I never read Art of Seduction. I never read How to Grow Friends and Influence People. I'm like, I don't need those books. But now, I've been looking more intentionally for books like that can sharpen my tools by giving me new perspectives, new information. And this book, single-handedly, was the #1 book I've ever read in my life on communication. And you see it right there. Discover the secret to getting through to absolutely anyone. Just Listen is the title of the book. And I can tell you, this book goes through every example. Narcissists, bullies. If you're arguing with a person and it's the heat of the argument and y'all can't see each other's side and y'all just keep going back and forth. Every example you can have is elaborated and explained in that book. And my biggest takeaway from the book that I can share with you that goes into how to get better at word choice is that imagine you're arguing with somebody or going back and forth with somebody and they're not seeing where you're coming from. Well, guess what, jackass? They feel the same way. And that's your greatest tool in that conversation is that you feel like they're not listening to you. They don't see where you're coming from. And no matter what you say, you're not going to get through to them. So fuck it. I'm not even arguing no more because you dumb as hell. I'm talking to a brick wall. That is usually the end of an argument or the end of a conversation or the end of a connection and connection during a conversation. And the book persistently talks about how when y'all two clashing heads in a conversation, you can't talk and listen at the same time. Just listen. Let them get their words out. In fact, ask them questions. Not rhetorical, smart-ass questions like I pointed out in the beginning of this book, such as, how did you not see it on the stove? Right? But more so questions like that counter your point. Questions that will almost prove you wrong. So there's almost a humbling position of influential communication. And there's a reason for that. The best lawyers can use the prosecutor's arguments against them. The best debaters, lawyers, convincers have the ability to relate to their competition or their opponent, to be friends with their enemies, to get inside their game. What would I do if I was them? What makes them them? When you work communicating from the inside out, even with women, understanding what is her fears, her concerns, her worries, that helps you in communication. Because you realize when approaching a woman, she doesn't know you. You're a stranger to her. And a stranger is a red flag. You could be a creep, a killer, or her future husband. She doesn't know. And a lot of people have social anxiety. So that fear shakes them. Again, if you're super attractive or something like they already know you as like a celebrity or something, then they lower that defense more than they would just a complete stranger. However, what you say and how you open the conversation can change a lot of that. How you smell, this is not about how you smell, but this is about word choice. But you need to understand about your word choice is it really starts with your eyes and your ears. It really starts with not opening your mouth, but opening your thought process, opening your perspective. Because the more you can communicate from the inside out of the other person is the more influential you can be. Because without any type of connection with your message, there's going to be no friction to shift anything. There's going to be no spark. There's going to be there has to be a certain amount of friction in the conversation to make it impactful or move a person. There has to be something, some resistance, some pull, some hook, right? And that can come from, even if you're trying so hard to convince that person, but you have to know how they think. Understand it, understand it, and get inside their head. Just listen. The book explains it much more in depth, and I can do a video on this book if y'all want me to go into depth with that book. But that was one of the most powerful things with me, is that, you might be arguing with somebody, you're trying so hard to be right, but we would never take a step back and say, why do they think they're right? And then ask questions. And then when that person unleashes their wrath, the worst part of that argument is when they turn around and say, you know what, you're not even listening. It doesn't even matter. I'm not going to get anywhere with you. That's the worst part of that argument. And the best part of it is when y'all can come to an understanding of what the fuck y'all are talking about. And if you want to be the person who wins in that debate or that conversation, you have to work from the inside of their argument out. Because just listen to me, you can only get but so far. What if they organize the argument better? This is a thing in debate. It's a huge thing to dismantle their argument first. I have to make their argument look weak. That's half my game. Half my game in a debate is making that side look weak before I even argue my side is the best. What if the crowd is biased? They have to fall out of love and hope with the mirage of what they believe in or what they think first before I even get them to shift a perspective or shift a thought process. I have to dismantle it from the inside out by just listening so I can do my research and take my notes. This is like the simple stuff in a conversation with a woman, and I say you take what somebody said and you throw it back at them. Not in a petty way, but in a way of, I noticed how you talked about your grandmama a lot. Like, did she raise you or something? Like, what makes y'all relationship so important? Because I know not everybody has that relationship with their stuff like that. That should have hit like gold. Y'all see me a lot of times on these e-dates, on these one-on-one conversations. I take exactly what that person said. I noticed you said you're into blank, blank, blank. Where did that come from? Or how did that? What are these countries, and why would you travel here? And why traveling so important to you? Do you value this and that? You can combine this thing. Remember I said about you say something wrong and people love to correct you? I might say something wrong. Is it because blank, blank, blank? Usually I don't, but you might start with a question. Working from the inside out. Just listening is a huge part of getting through to somebody and communicating and choosing better words. Because again, when you just listen, people will tell you what to say. You might have ended up blabbling a bunch of words that wouldn't even have helped your argument or your ability to influence that person. But if you just listened and actually found out, like, oh shit, I didn't even have to go on a rant about buying this car because it's the fastest car. They were looking for a car that had enough space for their family. So why was I about to talk about how fast it is and how new it is and how low the miles are and the seats are comfortable? They just want space for their Just listening will help you get through to someone. Now, a good follow-up to that just listening part is providing your reaction in relation to what they said. So, like, simply put, if the person goes, yeah, like, you know, I don't know if I really want that. Oh, excuse me. I have a perfect example. Talking to a person and they go, yeah, I had the craziest day, man. You know, blah, 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 blah. Damn, what made your day so crazy? Simple shit. Influential communication isn't saying the perfect thing. And oftentimes, you can say you don't know what to say. It's that you putting it on the pedestal, like I have to come up with the perfect thing to say that's making you think so hard. Oftentimes it's right in your face. You listen to somebody, they just told you how 10 family members just died in the last 2 days. There's no perfect thing to say there. The only thing you can say is that is more difficult of an experience than I even know anyone in my life has been through. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to comfort you. I don't know how to console you. I don't know. The only thing I can do is be here for you and with you. I don't have the perfect thing to say. I can only show you. And that'll go miles other than the message of, you know, they're in the spiritual realm and they'll be with you forever. You know, they might appreciate that as well. So let me not even get that chopped. But it's something like that that can be so direct that is better than the perfect thing to say. And it comes through with your word choice, using humility and vulnerability as a strength. All these examples I can come up with. The last thing I would say, how you get better with your mouthpiece, with your word choice, is knowing how to use time during conversations. You know, a hint at that was where I said, you know, let your first word be your breath. You're buying yourself time. But all effective communicators I know how to buy time while talking. An example of that may be, they'll go, you know, another person just said something, blah, 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 blah. And then you go, you make a good point. Whole time, yes, you make a good point is reassuring of what they just said. But more than that, I just bought a natural 1 to 2 seconds to come up with something else to say. Most people say, they have awkward time buyers. They don't have fluent time buyers, fluid, smooth time buyers. You just made a good point. What if I told you, and now you don't even realize I'm already into my statement. You know what I'm saying? There's times like that, like there's words and phrases like that, like you make a good point. I never thought about it that way. Oh wow. I've never heard somebody say, like, it's just plenty of ones. This, when it comes to your mind, you think of these in examples, you visualize these examples during a conversation. They are so powerful. Because a lot of fluent conversations, and somebody say, wow, that person's easy to talk to, is because of all these little ass things. How they use time, not rushing, not forcing things, listening, piggybacking off of what's going on and going deeper in that. Follow-up questions, follow-up statements, reactions to what's being said. They're a good listener. All of this comes to you when you just listen. You realize how important your word choice is. I love y'all. Dojo to the moon, to Saturn. We live in the solar system. The limits when you know we exist. You dig.